Welcome to the North Texas PodConnect. The North Texas PodConnect is a revolutionary way to network that combines the best of traditional networking with the power of the digital world. By utilizing the power and reach of radio, live streaming, and podcasting, and by leveraging the Difference Media LLC's expansive audience of over 4 million viewers and listeners, PodConnect enables professionals to connect with like-minded individuals, share knowledge and experiences, and build personal brands through a unique approach that opens doors to new opportunities, business relationships, consumers, and community leaders. So, sit back, relax, and turn up the volume as some of PodConnect's charter members discuss the impact networking through podcasting has had on helping them grow and expand their businesses. Because PodConnect starts now.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the North Texas PodConnect. I'm your host, Nathan Smith. Our goal, as always, is to revolutionize your networking experience live on the air through the medium of podcasting. We want to help you explode your brand, level up your business, stay relevant in your communities. If you have questions or want to know how to become a part of what we're doing, not only with this podcast, but in your community, you can first check out the North Texas PodConnect Facebook page. You can text myself or Lyndon Wilson, creator of The Difference Media. You can also check out the Difference Media LLC website at thedifferenceradio.com. We are on episode 12. This is the third episode concluding our topic of business credit. This month, we tackle different topics every month that are really deeper than a lot of networking groups do or business podcasts do. That, not just tackling mentality and kind of surface level things, but really into the nitty gritty that's going to help you protect your business, grow your business, expand your business, and really put your brand out there, develop yourself in a way that's going to help you become successful, get to where you want to go. So we're on part 3 of our topic for October. It's not October, it's September. For September, I guess I'm excited for October. Part 3, leveraging business credit to fund growth. Okay, we want to turn someday, right? That mentality of often the future, turn that into today. So we're going to go on a journey today. We're going to uncover strategies, tactics, opportunities that successful entrepreneurs do to leverage their business credit for funding growth, creating opportunities, and of course, outperforming their competitors. So we're excited as always to be here with our different co-hosts. We've got a wonderful guest on the show today. Let's bring everybody in if we can, Lyndon. We've got Jim Thomas. We've got the great Paul Fisher. We've got Brian Poduska, all members of PodConnect. And, of course, a guest on the show with us today, Ashley Kavanaugh. We'll get back to her in just a second. But welcome, lady and gentlemen. How are you guys doing this morning? Hope everybody's having a great morning so far. Let's take a quick second to just go around the horn. I'll start with you, Jim. Just introduce yourself, your business, and then we'll jump right over to Paul.
You bet. Good morning, everyone. Jim Thomas, and we can help with funding for pre-revenue startups. We can help with funding for existing businesses. You can use the phone number there on the screen, or feel free to hit us up here online.
Awesome, Paul.
Good. My name is Paul Fisher. I'm a direct mortgage lender with Certainty Home Lending. Of course, we take care of people getting in their first home, their second home, or even investment property. So local to the market, and happy to be here.
Awesome. Brian.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus, where we focus on your real estate investments. We are a full-service property management company, full-service real estate brokerage, working primarily with investors. Also, am the host of the North Texas Community Difference Show, which you can see up there. We're currently looking for co-hosts, so if you're at all interested and able, hook up with me and we can talk more about it, and or Paul Fisher is also a co-host on that show.
And you don't have to necessarily live in Frisco, but if you do business in Frisco, even, it might be good to be a part of that show for sure.
Correct.
Yeah. Frisco and points north.
Awesome. And then Lyndon, who's going to be our topic expert today, but I'll let him introduce himself, and really he's the godfather behind all of the Difference Media. Take a second to introduce yourself, Lyndon.
Well, I'm Lyndon Wilson, and I created The Difference about four years ago. It'll be 4 years next month, and we've had over 4 million viewers on the shows that we've had. We've had about 1,200, 1,300 shows, I think, a little over 2,000 guests. And so we created the difference in all the different series that we have so that small businesses can be seen, be heard, and be remembered. So if you're looking for a way to establish yourself as an icon in your industry, within your community, our community shows may be something you want to look into. The Frisco show, we've got Wiley, we've got Rockwall, we've got Denton, and we're looking to add a few more communities as well.
That's fantastic. And my name, of course, is Nathan Smith, host of PodConnect every Wednesday at 11:30 right here, owner of EFG, where my goal is to help people escape the corporate prison. If you're in a job or you're looking to get out of that job or just needing more income, I have a passion for helping people realize that a job is not the long-term answer, right? So many of our society rely on employees, but you don't have to be one of them. So if you're looking for that next career, that different opportunity to do something special and change the course of your life, I'd love to talk with you. And joining us today, a guest, and a big part of these shows is having guests, giving guests the opportunity to come on, meet new people, network. That's the whole point of PodConnect, or one of many points of PodConnect. And so I have the wonderful Ashley Kavanaugh here. She is a web designer of the highest quality, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, Ashley Kavanaugh. I'm the owner of Web Business. I develop and design websites for all businesses. I'm excited to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me, Nathan.
Awesome. How did you decide that you wanted to get into the web design business? I know we talked about this offline a couple of days ago, but I just want to share a little bit about your desire for that. How'd that come about?
I started building websites over 15 years ago. I taught myself in middle school. I'm an artist, so I cared a lot about my online presence when I was a child, and then taught myself code. And through practice, here I am, 34 years old today, building websites for all businesses and helping them out and making sure that their website's professional and stands out. I really enjoy it. It's another way, instead of painting and drawing, I instead make the internet look good.
That's important. We all could use a little bit of help with our online presence for sure. So, well, Ashley, I'm so glad that you're here. Glad you joined us today. Ashley's part of Master Networks with us. Most of everybody, except for Jim, we still love Jim, but we're all part of different Master Network chapters. So that's the connection there as well. So, well, Lennon, let's jump right in. I know this is the third episode in our topic of business credit, but before we go in specifics today, do you want to just give, and this will be good for Ashley too as a guest, you want to give just an overview, 2 or 3 minutes of kind of the other two podcasts, really just starting with what business credit is, why it's important for those that haven't listened or seen the other shows, just kind of catch us up.
Sure. First thing I'd like to say is what we said on the very first show in this series is, does it matter? So you've got a business, you're self-employed. Does having business credit matter? Is it the only way you can stay in business? And the answer to that is no. You have a lot of opportunities to fund your business and to make sure that your business stays a functioning business through your own personal credit. You can bootstrap, you can use your savings. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but there's a certain protection that comes into play when you do the things that you are required to do to establish business credit. There's so many byproduct and ancillary benefits to structuring a business in a way that can allow you to build business credit with a credit file independent of your personal credit file. When you establish a business in this way, you are protecting yourself from IRS scrutiny. A lot of the things that the IRS can red flag you for, commingling funds, different things like that we talked last week. So I guess that, when we're talking business credit, I'm thinking, am I talking to someone that wants a true business, or are they just happy being self-employed? And there's nothing wrong with either one, right? There's a lot less responsibility that comes along with being self-employed unless you get in trouble because you didn't protect yourself like a incorporated business might do. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense.
So then we started talking, about Okay, so you wanna have business credit. You want to have access to funding. You want to protect your personal assets. I mean, the protections that you get, you protect yourself, you protect your family, and you protect your business if you have structured your business, which is the number one thing you have to do, in a manner that separates your business from your personal, right? So everybody knows what your personal credit score or your credit file is, right? We all have one. It's tied to our social security number. Some people's are good, some people's are bad. It depends on how you've managed it.
Did he freeze up?
Yeah, I thought that was me.
Oh no.
Mine
no.
too.
Okay. Well, anyway, so let's do this because Jim, I know Jim, you talked a little bit about as you did lending for small business. We talked about that the first month back in July. You use business credit or education as a part of your process when you're talking to people, and a lot of times that initial loan is based on personal credit, but there's also the business credit part. So when you're talking to somebody, Jim, what is your emphasis on the importance of business credit, and how do you make sure that they're tackling some of the steps that Lyndon talked about last week?
One of the things that we look at whenever we're talking to anybody, we want to help define what business they're in. And the way we define this, what business are we all in? We are in the solutions business. We're in the business of finding solutions. And so, for example, when someone says applying for funding and they're, say, a pre-revenue startup, and that's usually going to require personal credit, high credit scores, good income. But with that, if those credit scores are above 700, they automatically will qualify for business credit cards. Even if they don't have a business, they can go get the EIN number, submit it, and now they're qualified for maybe as much as $100,000 in business credit cards. So now all of a sudden they've got the personal, they're establishing the business, and there's going to be hiccups along the way. That's just the way life is, and you're going to be up and down. And if something happened to that personal credit score, now all of a sudden you've got this business credit score that can maybe guarantee a lease, help you get funding, any number of things it can do for you.
Jim, I've got a question for you on that. And you're absolutely correct. If your score is where it needs to be, you can get approved for that. Are those credit cards, do they still require a personal guarantee, or are you allowed to get those solely on your EIN?
They're solely on the EIN. You get them because of the personal credit score, but it's because of the EIN. They are business credit cards.
Okay.
And they're issued by the the big banks.
Right.
And is that something? I mean, I know Lyndon, mentioned like the Dunn score last week. So even though you get it, I guess starting on your personal, and now it's a business, business credit card, is that something that can add to that Dunn score? That needs to, that's I guess like basically your business credit score. Is that how you add to that number?
That's one way to do it, right?
Yeah. But what people don't realize is that a lot of businesses out there that have not gone and got their own Dunn's number. If any of your creditors, they can report to Dunn's even if you don't have a number. Dunn's will assign you a number, and you may not even know it exists. Now, that's only if they're reporting your business to business credit, right? And they can decide if they want to do that or not.
Lyndon, let's do a quick recap on Dunn's just for somebody that may have missed that. And then when we come back from break, you do that real quick before break. But when we come back from break, what we want to tackle today is specifically the importance of business credit to the business owner, to a potential lender, even to the IRS, which is that anytime we can be in good standing with the IRS, that's a very important thing. We're going to talk about creating a list of vendors, alternate lenders, all of these things that you have access to when you have a good business credit file. But we're going to tackle that first when we get back. But Lyndon, right before break, just give us a recap, because I know people here, we throw the term Dunn's. I think people are more familiar with EIN, but talk about Dunn's real quick, and then we'll hit our first commercial break.
Okay, so what Dunn's is Dunn's is a credit reporting agency, and they report on a lot of different factors. payment history being number one. They assign you a DUNS number, and you usually have to apply for that unless you have been in business for a while and you've got some creditors that have sent to DUNS and they've established that you are a business and they'll issue one. But that once you get your numbers, you start to develop a PAYDEX score. That is another credit scoring model. You have, for businesses, you have DUNS, you have Equifax, and you have Experian. For personal, you have Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. But for business, it's those three. And you typically are responsible for creating those on your own. But sometimes they can get created, like I said, through submission of your lenders. But it's really important for you to have that DUNS number because there's a lot of advantages over time that come along with that.
Well, that's the first thing, you talk about here is setting up that credit file through Equifax and Experian. And that's going to be a major part of the importance to business owners to establishing that credit. So let's start with that when we get back from commercial break. Stick around on North Texas PodConnect. We'll be right back.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Texas Edge Insurance. We're more than just an insurance company. We're your partners in protection. We understand that every person and every business is unique. That's why we don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach to insurance. We work with you to create a customized insurance plan that meets your specific needs. And we're always here to help you, no matter what. We offer a wide range of insurance products. We also work with over 30 insurance companies to find you the best possible coverage. So what are you waiting for? Contact Texas Edge Insurance today. Visit our website or give us a call at 817-406-2929 to get a free quote today. Introducing Bankroll Media, a digital marketing partner designed to take your business to the next level. At Bankroll Media, we are a team of creative and innovative marketers that works with mortgage loan officers, realtors, many e-commerce businesses, and much more. At Bankroll Media, we're different because you're different. We get it, and that's why we're here. We're not your typical marketing agency. We don't believe in cookie-cutter solutions or one-size-fits-all approaches. We believe in building relationships with our clients and understanding their unique needs. We want to understand your business inside and out so that we can create marketing campaigns that are tailored to your specific needs. From social media management, lead generation, web design to content creation and SEO, even email marketing. Bankroll Media can do it all. Bankroll Media, building presence, connecting ideas.
Are you worried about your retirement? Do you want to make sure you have enough money to live comfortably? Do you want to protect your assets from taxes? If so, then you need to talk to Smart Safe Retirement. We are a team of experienced financial advisors who can help you create a retirement plan that is right for you. We will work with you to understand your needs and goals, and then we will develop a plan that will help you achieve them. We will also help you protect your assets from taxes so you can keep more of what you earn. Don't wait any longer. Call Smart Safe Retirement today and start planning for your future. We can help you secure your financial future and enjoy a worry-free retirement. Call us today at 469-233-9127.
And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the North Texas PodConnect. Right before the break, we were talking, really just want to dive into the different aspects of business credit from a why it matters standpoint. And we've really talked a lot about this the first 2 weeks, but specifically when it gets down to, we talked about the 10 steps that you really not optional steps, like 10 required steps last week. And if you didn't get those, you want to definitely go back and check out the episode from last week of what you need to do to start establishing that credit. But a big part of that is going to be setting up your credit file with Experian and Equifax. We talked about, DUNS, Experian, Equifax, et cetera. What does that process look like, and why? That's really a step one of building that credit file, which is going to be beneficial to the business owner. But what does that process look like specifically, Lyndon?
It's not hard. As with anything, you just got to take the time to do it. Or there's companies out there that do it for you. I will say this. Let me back up just a little bit on the DUNS number. When you get ready to establish a DUNS number, you can do that for free. Do not be fooled. If you call DUNS, and they're usually going to require it, a lot of times you can do it straight through the internet, but a lot of times they're going to require you to call. Anybody want to guess why? Why do most people want somebody to call them?
They want to sell you something.
So they have a $16,000 package that will help you set up your credit.
Oh, gosh.
Okay? And they're going to make you think that that's the only way you can get it done. And that is not true. All of this can be done for free. It doesn't cost you anything. All of it can be done for free. But you have to take the time. Now, if you got more money than you do time, they may be a good one to go to, but I do know that there's many, many of them out there that are a lot less expensive. I mean, there's some that charge $250, there's some that charge $750, there's some that charge $500, and you get the same results. That's the thing about it. So it doesn't have to break the bank. But Experian and Equifax, Nathan, are pretty much the same. You're gonna go in, and we've got this in that booklet that I talked about, the blueprint. We've got all the phone numbers, all the way, to check out how to get in contact with them, and all the steps, right? Even with the DUNS number in our blueprint that we have, it tells you what I just told you about DUNS. They're going to try to sell you a $16,000 package. They don't have anything cheaper. That's it. They have something more expensive, but they don't have anything cheaper. And so we explain that in the business credit blueprint, but so you would contact Experian, you would contact Equifax. And for the most part, you may have to submit like your some tax documents, your articles of incorporation, things like that, just as verification. So you're going to do it just like you would anything else. But you get both of those established with Equifax and Experian. You're usually approved within about 5 to 10 days.
So, as far as from a business owner perspective, obviously having business credit established is going to give you enhanced borrowing capacity. You're going to be able to borrow more, which is going to allow you to grow your business or start your business. Sometimes it's harder to have, I guess you can start the business credit process while starting the business at the same time. And I think maybe some people really feel like you've got to get established before you can do that. And I guess that's not really the case. Obviously, it's going to give you that financial independence, meaning you're separating your business from yourself, from your personal credit, which is giving you a layer of protection. God forbid something would happen to that business, which is obviously common for small businesses. And so those are very important things. But there's also a big, I guess, importance to a potential lender when they're going in and looking at somebody that's got an established business credit profile, they've got a good score, they're reputable. That obviously gives them more desire to want to do business, want to lend to you, which is obviously important. No, Paul, you said you had a question for Jim.
Yeah. Well, it was fun because you brought up anytime you mention the word lender, of course, I kind of, my ears perk up. But you mentioned something, and I'm sure Jim and Linda can kind of maybe expand on this. But you mentioned like different lenders. So are there different avenues or different types of lenders that you're going to go after for business funding, or is it going to be? Is Jim kind of industry specific on who he's going to lend to, or the banks, or and just kind of touch on, because you kept mentioning different lenders. So I just wanted to see, what the I guess the status of that comment was.
When I'm talking about different lenders, I'm talking about the different levels at which you establish your credit and what you might be specifically searching for, right? So when I'm talking about lenders, I'm talking about your vendors, your 30, 60, 90-day vendors. That's where you're going to start establishing your business credit. If you don't have good credit, or you don't have something that you can piggyback on, or you can't qualify for something like Jim offers, and what Jim offers is typically, I'm not going to say easy, nothing's easy, but it's a lot more simple than some of the major lending institutions. So you have to evaluate first, Paul, what it is that you need and where to go. That's the problem with a lot of people, is they don't understand the significance of the different options and opportunities of the lenders. An alternative lender offers a special benefit. And Jim can talk more about what that special benefit, and it's not always the amount of money you get, it's how you get it, what the terms are going to be, right? How many hoops you've got to jump through before you get approval. You know, if you talk about SBA versus alternative lending, and Jim can speak more specifically to me, alternative lending is faster. There's a lot less that you have to do. There's a lot less responsibility involved. And so for many people, that may be the biggest component of why they choose going alternative rather than SBA. One thing that I want to make very clear with everybody right now, there are millions and millions of business owners out there who have done just fine, never establishing business credit. They've made millions. They've sold their business. The significance of business credit for me are two things. It reduces your risk and it reduces your liability. If anything happens to you personally and you have all of your finances commingled, let's say somebody decides to sue you personally. Let's say you run a red light one day and you total someone's car and it's kind of tragic. If you don't have a separation, they can take everything. Let's say that your business goes under, another COVID event happens and we can't work. We're not deemed necessary. I've never seen anybody whose business wasn't necessary to them, but apparently to our government, there's only certain ones that are. But let's just say that you get shut down and you either are underperforming or can't perform at all. And for some reason, and I bet we all know somebody that's lost a business and lost their ass when they lost that business. If you've not separated things, when it comes time to pay the piper, they can come after your personal assets. So that's why I wanted to do this third. After Jim talked about funding, Stephen talked about risk management. I wanted to be able to come back and talk about business credit because it does both of those. It's risk management and offers opportunity to get funding.
Well, and it really does go back to, if people didn't watch any of those, didn't get a chance to watch any of those early episodes, hopefully this will bring some of that together. But it almost, to me, Lyndon, needs to be just kind of a part of your process as a business owner, even if you are not in a place where you feel like you're ready to grow or ready to expand, or you don't know exactly what the future looks like. Like, I remember, Jim, you were talking, I want to say in your second episode that we did, or maybe it was the third one, about just having money on hand, even if you're not using it, is beneficial because you know it's there. You can use it to hire extra people, to build another building, for equipment, whatever you need. But you have it there. And also, I think it helps you as a business owner think about, like, when you know the money's there, I would hope that it would inspire you to think, okay, well, how can I use this to expand and grow? But from your point, Lyndon, it should almost be, even if you're not looking at it from a lending standpoint in the present, having it from a protective nature for risk management just seems kind of logical. Because, I would much rather my business go under and not affect my personal life than my business to go under and my personal credit to be tanked at the same time. Or I get sued and my house is gone, worst case scenarios, obviously.
So so look at it from this perspective, and you're exactly right. If you've got a business, you've got your personal side and your business side, whether they're commingled, intermingled, or not, right? You have two components. Would you rather separate those and protect one? If you lose one, you don't have to lose both. But not separating it, if you lose one, you lose both. There's no way around it. If your business goes out of business, if you fall and break your leg and you're a roofer and you can't climb a ladder to get on the roof anymore and you can't work, what's going to happen to your personal property, assets, if you're not generating revenue? And then how do you start over if your personal credit's been tanked?
That's very tough. I mean, absolutely.
It's extremely tough. And as I said before in one of the other segments, I have watched over the years that I've been a part of business credit, I've watched companies go out of business and 6 months later be back in business with a full functional credit file, getting loans $25, $50, $100,000. And that's after going bankrupt in a business they had just 6 months ago. You cannot do that if you destroy your personal credit and you lose all of your assets. If the IRS comes in and seizes your personal bank accounts because something happened within your business, you're in trouble.
Speaking of the IRS, we talked about the importance to a potential lender with Jim, the different types of loans, the terms, interest rates, credit worthiness, et cetera, and of course the general risk management that you were just talking about. I know, Brian, you wanted to ask a question about the types of reporting. Let's tackle that when we get on the other side of the break. And then after Brian, let's jump into why it's important to the IRS. You just mentioned the IRS. We want to make sure we're doing anything we can to mitigate our risk when it comes to the IRS, and business credit is a big part of that. So stick around right here on the North Texas PodConnect. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference is a new series of shows powered by the Difference Radio live stream and podcast network. This series of shows was designed to highlight the unsung heroes that call our towns and communities home. And we wanted to create a platform that brings awareness to and reminds folks of the goodness that lives within so many of us. By working with the local community leaders, business owners, first responders, veterans, schools, and citizens, we want to unite with a clear and selfless purpose. The Community Difference seeks to spotlight the people, events, and activities that are producing positive outcomes, inspirational stories, and incredible experiences. In a world that is consumed with negative press, media manipulation, and propaganda, The Difference, along with many others who believe and support The Difference, understands there is no better way to make the difference than to highlight the unsung heroes that call our towns and communities home. We are currently searching for local communities to be the focus of our shows, but before we can launch a show in your community, we need your help. We need you along with local business leaders, chambers of commerces, major nonprofits, online community group leaders, networking groups, etc., to join us in making the difference in helping your community be seen, be heard, and be remembered. So, if you would like to know how you, your business, school, social media community, church, or your favorite nonprofit organization can be a part of this unique and powerful program, reach out to us today and introduce yourself and let us know how you would like to contribute and bring awareness to the amazing people, places, and events that are making the difference in the community you love. You can call us at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com.
And now, back to the show.
Welcome back. We are a little over, almost halfway through the show today. Brian, I know you wanted to ask specifically about some reporting for Equifax and Experian when it comes to business credit.
Yeah, Lennon, and whoever's best to answer this, whether it's Lennon or Jim, I was thinking as you were walking through, I'm taking notes here, and I see as a property manager tons of credit reports, right? Any applicant that we have at one of our properties, we're pulling credit reports from a couple different bureaus. Mm-hmm. From a business so that's on the personal side,
right?
So from a business perspective, I guess my curiosity is, what type of reporting are they receiving? Those bureaus receiving as far as payment history goes? Where's that coming from? What is it? Loans only? Is it rent payment on leases? Where are they getting their information from?
So, just like with your personal credit, Experian, Equifax, it's all voluntary, right? So whether it's business or whether it's personal, whoever has extended credit to you in the form of rent, they can report that. A lot of times, Experian, Equifax may not get into the whole rent side of it, but Dun & Bradstreet will. Anything that you are making monthly payments on, Dun & Bradstreet will take in and put that into your credit file. if you can get the creditor to send it in, or if you can submit it and get the verification from the creditor themselves.
Okay, but it sounds like you have to, in some cases, you have to proactively reach out to that creditor to report.
Business credit is a lot more proactive than personal credit. Okay, personal credit, just you don't have to do anything, and
Right.
if you don't manage it, it can end up bad. Now, one thing that you just said, Brian, that's very, very important in doing this. And it's not important every day, but when it's important, it's real important. You just talked about you're checking credit, right? You're checking credit on your tenants. You're checking credit on probably different people. If every time a vendor or a lender pulls your credit and they're having to pull your personal one, there's going to be an impact to your score.
Mm-hmm.
So now think about this. If I'm applying for credit personally, I'm getting dinged there with inquiries. If I'm using the same credit file to apply for business credit, I'm getting dinged there. Over time, that's going to take a toll on that credit report.
Now, question to build off of that, does inquiries on the business credit side also ding your business credit?
Not the same way, because they expect that. All right. So let me see if I can explain this right. Both of them are a snapshot of your credit management and credit worthiness, right? But you would expect a business to be applying for credit a lot more than you would a person. So you don't get the inquiry hits with business credit like you do with personal. That's another advantage. The other advantage, and Paul, we've mentioned this before. If I've got $100,000 worth of debt, or let's go $500,000 of debt on my personal credit file, and it's commingled business and personal, and my income, because I'm self-employed, does not show what I need it to show, and my DTI is out of whack, I'm going to get hit not only personally, but also professionally. So one of the saving graces, and I was in mortgage for a long time, one of the saving graces of separating that file additionally is the fact that you're not impacting your debt to income ratio personally. So if for some reason you needed to use your personal credit, maybe, usually it's not an emergency to buy a new house. Sometimes it may be an emergency to buy a new car, but there may be other things that you need that you needed to use your personal credit for. If your DTI is out of whack, you're going to get declined. I know a lot of, and Paul, you probably can attest to this. I know a lot of businesses that pay their credit cards off in full every month, but if you look at the credit report, they're running 100% balance, right?
100%. Yep.
What's that doing to the score?
Well, it's not helping it.
No, it doesn't. Anytime you get over 30%, you're going to start seeing a negative impact towards your score. If you've got 10 credit cards and you're using them all for cash flow for your business and you're paying them off every month, you can see that you're making the payments every month. Your score is still going to be low because your utilization rate is going to be outrageous.
Yep. I mean, and even back to your like your personal and business tax returns. I mean, if people are writing everything off for their business on their personal returns and they're not showing any income, and it's kind of back to your DTI, and it's kind of hard to get that qualified. So another good reason to separate business and personal.
Well, that's a great kind of reset, because I know for me, when Lyndon and I were planning the topics and wanted to figure out what we were going to talk about, when we were talking about this segment or this month of topics, there was so much that I didn't understand. And I think so many business owners are in that boat. I guess you think so much about what you want to do in business that you don't really kind of check some of these really important boxes. And we were talking, Ashley, we have a chat that we have here on the side that we kind of communicate with, and we were talking, with Ashley, and Ashley, you said that you're still kind of having everything together, which is how so many small businesses are. I just want to ask you, I mean, as you're hearing some of this stuff that we've talked about, is there anything that's like, okay, man, I might need to get some stuff in order, or anything that you have questions about, or is it making sense to you, the value of what Lyndon's talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that earlier when he mentioned the difference between being comfortable and self-employed and hiring and scaling your business, I think you should definitely separate your credit, have a safety net, have money, versus someone kind of like me right now. I'm comfortable being self-employed. 6 years ago, I had an investment in my company, did a commercial build out, hired employees, went through all that, and luckily walked away without it hurting my credit. But if I had to do it again and I was ready to scale and hire employees or get a big office building, I would definitely now make sure my credit is separate, to protect myself and not be as stressed at taking that high risk.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, and that's a great point too, because I mean, like Lyndon said, you can run a business, and it just kind of depends on the nature of what you do, how much risk you expose yourself to by not having a business. But if you're going to scale, like you talked about, and you want to hire people, you have offices, structures, buildings. I mean, as much of what Stephen Pine does with physical risk management, this is the other side of that too. So I think, looking back on that experience, realizing, yeah, I probably should have done that. And that, luckily, it didn't cost you. You got out unscathed, which is certainly a good thing, but probably not something you would try on multiple occasions, because you may not be as lucky the next time. Lyndon, we talk about we've mentioned the IRS a number of times here, and we've got about 3 minutes before our next commercial break, but anytime you can keep the IRS at bay, that's certainly a good thing. So reporting taxes, verifying legitimacy of your business, those are obviously very important reasons to have that substantial credit file set up. What else, when it comes to the IRS, that gives us that level of protection or importance to make sure everything's in order?
Well, is anybody in this group, you don't have to I want you to think it, you don't have to just say it out loud unless you want to. Anybody ever been through an IRS audit? I have.
No.
I have. And it's brutal. And I'll share the story with you. We may only get to break, and then we can come back and talk about this. So I had a fitness center back in the late 1998, 99. And the IRS wanted to audit me, and they did. And they found that they felt that I owed them about $100,000. And I had an accountant. Yeah, well, that's what I said. No, I didn't say geez. I said something else.
Probably that's the PG version.
Yeah, keep it PG.
So we did our, we submitted everything. We come back. This guy walks in. Jim Thomas he knows. I had the gym at the time, and Jim was working with me. I don't know if Jim knows his story, but it's when I was in Garland. And so this guy and I can't talk about short people because I'm short, but he was about 5'8". And he probably weighed about 300 pounds, and he comes waddling in and I can say this because he's from the IRS. He comes waddling in the gym one day, and he walks back to my office, and he lays all this stuff out, and he goes, "Here's where I have a problem." He was just such a jerk. "Here's where I have a problem. Now, this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You've got 10 treadmills out there, and only 3 of them being used. So we feel like that you over-purchased, and therefore you should not be able to write those off." So he went through my whole equipment. My problem happened when I asked him if it's the first time he's ever been in a gym. I did that for a couple reasons, but mainly because it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You come at 5, we've got lines waiting on those treadmills. We ended up winning, if you want to call it winning, but it ended up costing me $8,000 to win. And so anything that you can do to prevent the IRS from throwing red flags at you. And if you are commingling your bank accounts, if you're commingling your expenses, that can become a huge problem, and the burden of proof then becomes on you, not them. It's on you. So it's quite expensive to battle the IRS. Even if you win, you won't win.
It's like winning a football game, but 4 of your best starting players are out for the season.
It's worse than that. Trust me.
Golly.
Well, did you at least tell that guy a gym membership?
No, I was about ready to kick his ass out by the time we were all done.
Was this the gym you had over off of Broadway in Garland?
Yep.
I remember that. Okay. Well, hey, we're going to go to break again. When we come back, we'll get it. Keep going here, diving in a little bit deeper, talking about different types of, depending on what your business is, you might have relationships with vendors, different vendors. Talking about those vendor accounts, establishing those first as a means of building your business credit file. So we'll tackle that next, right here on the North Texas PodConnect.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
JP Direct Health offers affordable health insurance solutions for individuals, families, and small businesses specializing in custom coverages to fit your needs and budget. JP Direct Health offers comprehensive benefits, including PPO health plans, accident and critical illness coverage, dental and vision, health matching accounts, along with telehealth at no cost per call. Call JP Direct Health today to learn more about how we can help you protect your health and your budget.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
Are you looking for new or more reliable and affordable home services? Look no further than Utility Connect. At Utility Connect, we understand that every customer is different. Thanks to our partnership with The Difference, our free concierge service seamlessly shops all of your utilities and services for your home or business with one easy phone call. So what are you waiting for? Call Utility Connect today and experience the difference. For more information, give us a call at 469-414-2033 or visit us at www.utilityconnect.net/thedifference to learn more.
Are you a business owner looking to grow your company? Get fast, easy financing up to $5 million with no minimum FICO score required. Apply in 60 seconds and get funded in 24 hours. Call Jim Thomas at 214-629-7223 to talk to a financing professional today. Your business's future is waiting. So don't delay. Call now and tell him that you saw him on The Difference.
And now back to the show.
Welcome back. We are in the final, I guess, the backside of the show, about 25 more minutes. We talk about the importance of, and it is, of course, depends on what your business is, but lenders are, not lenders, sorry, also very important. Vendors are a big part of building that credit file, but also, you want to pick the right vendors to work with. Obviously, you want to build good relationships. And it really also comes down to, Lyndon, choosing the best creditors to help build your business credit. Those are sometimes overlap in that capacity. So let's dive in there and talk about what that process should look like, and also why it's very important.
Well, number one, just like anything else that you're going to do if you're a professional, you need to have a strategy, right? You just don't need to go at it and throwing crap at the wall and see if it sticks, because that ends up making things worse. Same thing with personal credit. If you go out and you go to 35 auto dealers in one day, and you just continue to do that through the month looking for a bigger, better deal, it's going to end up being more damage you done to your credit than any benefit you might have found with a lender that might have or with a dealership that might have a better lender program. So have a strategy. And just like with building your own credit, right? Your personal credit, you got to start small. You got to start small. No one's going to give something without a history, a large loan, just because you want one. They're gonna look at how your vendors, if you even took the time to establish vendor relationships, that's another thing. I mean, part of this whole process that we're talking about going through allows a lender to look at your history. Did you establish a business? Do you have a business email? Do you have a business phone number? Do you have a website? Are you a professional, or are you a self-employed person that's doing business? Now, let me ask you guys this. I was told this once when I went through some training. Who would be the most attractive person to lend to? The person that has established their business, that has they're incorporated, they are they've got a business phone, they've got a business address, they've got a business bank account, they've got a website, they're verifiable, right? You know that they truly exist. Or a person that when you try to find their business, you can't find it anywhere. You call the phone and it's their cell phone. The address goes to someone's home, maybe theirs, maybe it's not. Which one would you feel more comfortable lending to? I'll ask all of you that.
Well, obviously, number one, it's risk versus reward.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. So why would we not take the time, if we're going to go through if we're going to need funding at some point, why would we not take the time to make ourselves the most attractive borrower that we could possibly be? Why would we just...
This I was going to say, this might be a little off topic, but just something I thought of when you said, you know, are you established? Do you have a phone number and all that? And I think some of that even ties in. And we had one of our sponsors here, Chris Scott, that runs Bankroll Media. But I mean, I think as far as, you know, if you're an established business and you've got a media presence, and that's kind of what Chris does with Bankroll Media, is, you know, establishing that you are verifiable, that you are actually a business and not someone that's, you know, doing it out of a PO box and, you know, looking for funding that, you know, is not verifiable. I mean, you don't know who they are. So, I know that social media is a topic for a different day, but I will say that, and I've used Bankroll Media on some of my things as for my lending business. And it's been, you know, verifiable and has been extremely good because it's something that I don't have time to do. So I know it's kind of a side point, but I wanted to throw that in there on your comment, Lennon, is about being, you know, a verifiable, you know, someone that's, you know, creditworthy.
I think that's a great point. And we can even, you know, you can go to this point as well. When times get tough, who's going to run first? The person that's got a lot invested in their business, their time, their effort, they have put their life into that business, or the person that threw a magnetic sign on the side of their truck,
right,
and they're running around trying to generate revenue. Who's going to leave who's going to be harder for the bank to find when the shit hits the fan?
the guy with the magnetic sign. I mean,
that's right. I mean, you said, Paul, risk versus reward. So if you're serious about getting funding, and again, that's one of the byproducts, but if you're serious about getting funding, go through all the steps. I mean, who do we want to do business with? I'm not talking about as a lender right now. Would you rather do business with the guy with the magnetic sign, or the person that when you look them up, you can see them on social media, you can see their website, you can see verification and validation that they exist and they have a history?
And they'll be there tomorrow.
They'll be there tomorrow. Exactly.
And hopefully they're insured.
More than likely, if they've done all the other things, Brian, they're probably going to be insured.
Right. And when I have vendors that I ask for that sort of thing and I can see all that, they're the first ones to come to the table with their proof of insurance and their W-9 and everything else. So exactly what we're looking for in somebody who we're doing business with.
Nathan, you there?
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to get back to the.
I thought you froze
He was
up.
taking notes.
No,
You froze up.
I have everything that I wanted to talk about, and then it froze, so I couldn't figure out what I was trying to do there. Sorry about that.
We'll have to get you a pen and paper, Nathan.
Well, yeah, that's what are those? Just kidding. I have a whole pad right here. Good old fashioned pen and paper. So one of the questions that you had talked about in the pre-show is, and this goes back to vendors, and this is a little bit what you talked about, but also you talked about business credit cards or different types of alternative lending. What are the differences between, or I guess advantages, disadvantages to pursuing setting some of those up, as it would affect your business credit? Is there one that's better, combination of both? I mean, it also depends on what you need as a business owner. Obviously, that's probably the number one.
It's really hard to say without having some specifics of not only what kind of business you have, but what you're trying to accomplish. Right? Are you looking for equipment financing? Or I mean, what is it that you're actually looking for? This may be something that Jim can speak to more, because he's on that lending side. I'm more on the, getting all the steps together so that you can separate your personal from your business. But Jim, you want to talk about the different types of lending, because
the ones that we deal with are by and large lending that it's unsecured. There's no restrictions on use. But one of the components that we do a fair amount of business in is secured funding, and generally it is equipment funding. And I don't know, well, I'd have to really give it some thought. I'm not sure we've ever had anybody turn down for equipment funding. Now, they might have some higher rates and some other things that might be a little more uncomfortable, but they'll generally get approved because if they don't make the payment, well, that stuff is secured. And so it's a little different animal than the unsecured funding. And as a matter of fact, I was thinking about something when y'all were talking. So many folks that are they're listening to this and, hey, why haven't I done the business funding? And I think, or the business, the credit. And too often, I think we're focused on just kind of getting the job done and, getting the bills paid and moving this thing forward. But I'll give you an example. We've got a client right now getting ready to become a client. He's going to be opening up a new business. We're probably going to start on Monday. He has no business credit. His personal credit is not good. But what did he do? And I just share this for the folks that might be listening and go, well, hey, what if I'm in that boat? He went out and got an investor. And how did he get that investor? Well, he wrote a business plan that showed that investor how he could get a return on the money he would put in. We had another fella actually in the same boat. He was a different part of the country. And he went out and got an investor. Well, what was the investor? The investor was a signature. He's going to sign on the note, and he's going to get a return, for that signature. So for the folks that are listening that maybe, oh, I missed this, or I don't have this, or I'm not ready for this, there are other options out there that I think it's worth remembering, that because we want to stay in the solutions business, right? And we want to maintain a lot of options. We just don't want to have one thing we're looking at.
Well, and Jim, you'd probably be the person, if somebody's asking, how can I find the lenders that are the best fit for my business, whether it's something you guys specifically do or not, you would probably be a good person to point them in the right direction based on what type of business or what their specific needs are. Is that correct?
Here's the thing. We talk about this on the consulting side of the business. We talk about it in the funding. If you don't know where you're going, ask someone who's been there.
Yeah, right.
And it has to be someone who's been there, not somebody who has an opinion. You want to talk to someone who's been there, because if you've been there, if you've been in that hole, and quite frankly, many business owners have been in that hole. It's just part of it, right? It's how do you deal with success? Success is really good, or it's not so good. How do you deal with it? Yeah, you've been in that hole, and how do you get out? And that's who you want to talk to. And, I always call it that trusted partner. It's one of the things I like about kind of networking groups, kind of like they have here. I kind of start to view all of this as, in a manner of speaking, my board of directors. Here's who I can go to for this, and here's who I can go to for that. So, but you want to talk to someone who's been there and been through it.
Yeah, that's a great, it really goes with your tagline. When the going gets tough, the tough get help. That's something I think we talk about that a lot, is just, finding the right people that are going or have been where you want to go. It makes perfect sense. We're going to hit our last commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap up. We'll get a chance to hear a little bit more from our co-host, specifically, and our guest this morning, and then we'll be done with the show today. So stick around. Last commercial break, and we'll be right back.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Welcome to the North Texas PodConnect. The North Texas PodConnect is a revolutionary way to network that combines the best of traditional networking with the power of the digital world. By utilizing the power and reach of radio, live streaming, and podcasting, and by leveraging the Difference Media LLC's expansive audience of over 4 million viewers and listeners, PodConnect enables professionals to connect with like-minded individuals, share knowledge and experiences, and build personal brands through a unique approach that opens doors to new opportunities, business relationships, consumers, and community leaders. With 3 levels of participation that include co-hosting, hosting, broadcasting your branded business commercial on our website and your PodConnect show, to being a station sponsor where your commercial plays on all of our network community shows, as well as our new radio station. Combined with done-for-you social media content like Reels and Shorts to expand your brand's visibility and reach, all at a fraction of the cost of one studio rental for a 1-hour podcast recording. So, if making high-level connections with other professionals and the residents of the communities you serve would be an asset to your professional growth and business development, then give us a call at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now back to the show.
Well, as we get ready to wrap up here, definitely want to take time to thank all of our sponsors across the Difference Media network, all of our different shows, from Denton to Wiley to Rockwall and soon Frisco, just our whole North Texas community, everyone that's a part of the North Texas PodConnect Facebook group. And we are growing like crazy. We're looking for people that want to do what we're doing. You're talking about the things that matter, not only in business, but in your communities with our community shows, building those key relationships that are going to take your business to the next level and really teach you how to do those things. So as we get into our topics for October, November, December, we're trying to iron out exactly what we want to do. We want to bring you the value that's going to be necessary to, like I said, take you to the next level. And so as soon as we kind of finalize what the rest of the year will look like, we'll certainly put that out on social media, get the promos set up and everything like that. But I want to give everybody a chance to kind of dive in a little bit deeper to their business, about a minute each, and then I'll have Lyndon kind of wrap us up with this whole series and give us some marching instructions for those that are looking for what's the first thing that they need to do. So, Brian, we talked in the pre-show. You had some success in your business this week, brought on some other properties. Talk a little bit more about real property management.
Yeah, thanks. No, we've had a very fruitful last couple of weeks. Brought on about 10 plus properties, all local to the area here in Frisco. So excited to work with some new owners. Excited to get some new properties under our belt and move forward with that. Like I said, we are a full service real estate brokerage working primarily with investors. So folks that have investment properties, whether it's 10 or 1, accidental landlords, we can help out with that situation. And really be your trusted advisor from a real estate investing standpoint and take you out of the equation in managing that from a day-to-day perspective. I also wanted to really quickly mention, as you can see here on my screen, the North Texas Community Difference Show Frisco starting up. Very similar to the other community difference shows. Hopefully you've seen Wiley. I've hosted that one in the past and recently handed the hosting duties off to some really awesome hosts. But for example, that show, Lynn, and I think we're probably up to about 75 plus business owners local to Wiley and in the Wiley community who operate in the Wiley community who have had exposure on that show, as well as, more importantly, if you're with the co-hosts on that show and myself, luckily enough too, have been able to meet those community leaders, meet those business leaders, and have follow-up conversations with them, through the podcast. So a perfect example of, how that community different show operates, and we're excited to do the same thing in Frisco. So I just wanted to mention that before we signed off here.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Brian. Paul, you got a big stake in Frisco. Talk about what's going on with you.
Yeah, I've been, I'm an ambassador for the Frisco Chamber of Commerce, and kind of like Brian said, we've had some of those folks on, including Mayor Cheney, and it's really a good way, to kind of leverage your business, and as Lyndon would always say, kind of be seen, be heard, and be remembered, and it's a good way to get people that might have a nonprofit in the chamber, to get them some exposure. So it's not really about you; it's about you and getting involved in your community and things like that. And so that's what we're trying to hope to leverage when we relaunch the Frisco show and get some more. But, having extra co-hosts definitely helps broaden the scale of who we want to get on the show and what we want to, bring to Frisco. And and like I said, all points north. I mean, Frisco is kind of, merging up into, Prosper and Salina and some of those areas. So we want to make sure we don't leave anybody out. So, but, kind of back to the business perspective. I mean, this was a good one on lending, because there are certain, there's always options, kind of like Jim said, we want to find solutions. So, at Certainty, we have all sorts of, great loans for the self-employed, person, whether it's a bank statement loan or another type that, might be better or more beneficial to them than the normal, Fannie or Freddie or FHA. So, but yeah, there's just, like I said, there's always a solution. You just have to find the right people, and at Certainty, we really bank ourselves on our people and our processes that we can find the right solution for you.
Well, that's awesome, Paul. Jim, one of the things about Jim that I love is that Jim has been an integral part of really all of our topics, not only the one he led about business funding, but really how much that ties into everything that we've talked about. And so, Jim, you obviously, I know, a mentor of Lyndon for many years, and have been such a huge part of the early success of the PodConnect podcast and what we're doing in networking. But want to always give you a chance to wrap up and talk about what specifically you've got going on these days.
Sure. And, a couple things for you folks that either want to get in business or you may already be in business. If you're looking to get in business, and I mentioned this early, if it's a pre-revenue startup, if it's a first unit franchise, there's no revenue, you can get funding for up to $400,000, as low as $50,000. But with credit scores of 680 or better, and all three that Lyndon has mentioned, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and a $50,000 income for the previous 2 years, that can get you started. You can also potentially, if your credit scores are over that 700, you can qualify for business credit cards up to $400,000 or up to $100,000 potentially. And then for you folks that are already in business, and this is a big one that not a lot of folks I don't think are aware of, but if you're already in business and you can provide 6 months of bank statements, you can potentially get funding based on that for as much as 2 times your monthly revenue. Now, of course, you have to show you can make the payment, given on what those bank statements show. You can't have NSFs. You can't be taking the bank accounts to zero. But if you're in business, you need funding, maybe your personal credit's not where you'd like it to be, this can be a great resource for you. So a lot of potential solutions. And even if you're not sure, it costs absolutely nothing to look. And even if it's not a fit today, you can start planning that strategy that or maybe a fit in a few months.
Well, thank you, Jim. For me, it's a pleasure to host these shows each week and to really just learn so much about different topics that oftentimes you don't think you even need to think about until you realize, holy crap, I need to think about all these things. And so, business is something that's so important. There's so many. We're about a month and a half into the school year right now. It usually takes about the 2-month mark when teachers and coaches start hating the fact that they are teachers and coaches. And I'm not saying that across the board, but they get frustrated. And so many of the people that I get the opportunity to work with, either part-time or full-time, are people that are looking to kind of transition out of their corporate job, or in this case, the school and coaching, not because they don't like it. They like the heart of what they do. They just feel overwhelmed, unappreciated, and as always, underpaid. And so helping people escape that prison, which it really is, whether it's a job, coaching, teaching, whatever, helping them start a business in the financial world, do something, that's going to be really rewarding and leave a legacy for their family is something that we have a passion about. We're going to open up 10 more offices over the next 3 years. And so the right kind of people that just have a passion to serve and care about people, but want to be valued for who they are and what they're worth. We teach people step by step exactly how to do that, while a lot of times being able to keep the job that they currently have until the right time to make that full transition is in place. And so I do want to take the time to thank Ashley for being on the show with us. Ashley, if you are looking for a website, you need to go no further than Ashley. She is phenomenal, quirky, great sense of humor. But I want to thank you for being on today, Ashley. And what do you want to share as far as what you do or takeaways from today? You got about a minute to share whatever you'd like to share.
So to kind of take what we talked about and put it towards what I offer, when you go to a lender or try to find an investor, the first thing people do is research you. The perception of your online presence is everything. It doesn't matter if you're networking or who you talk to or who you know. People are stalking you online. And having a website and having an email that matches and doing social media builds a lot more trust than someone who doesn't. So that's what I do. I help people look bigger than they are sometimes. I've built sites that look like they're a multi-million-dollar company and it's a guy in an attic. There's this one
I hope
company.
he's not an attic now.
It's air conditioned.
It'd be dead.
I've been talking to this one company and they've been trying to find investors to invest in their software business, and they've been struggling. And I made their website live 2 months ago, and they've already raised millions of dollars just through having that online credibility that what they're doing is legit. So it is important. Going to a lender, finding an investor, all these things tie into what I pitch people every day.
Well, I appreciate you being on so much. And as we wrap up today, Lyndon, I know you got about 2 minutes to do 3 weeks worth of wrap up, but I'll let you close us out today.
Ready, set, go.
It's it just boils down to this, right? Does it matter to you? What is your long-term goal? What's your exit strategy? If you haven't thought about those things yet, business credit is probably not the thing you need to be thinking about at this moment, because you need to get all of those things organized first and determine where you are today, where you want to be tomorrow, where you want to be when you get ready to retire or may be forced to retire. And the more things that you can do that elevate the value of your business, the better off you're going to be long term. So I encourage everybody that if your personal assets mean a lot to you, if your family means a lot to you, consider trying to separate your personal credit file from your business credit file. And if you wanted more information, my information is scrolling as well. We have a business credit blueprint. It comes in booklet form. We also have a workbook that's separate from that. So if you feel like that it might be too overwhelming, it's not overwhelming at all. It's a process, just like anything else that we have to do to make our businesses better. But if you follow the process, it will get better.
That's awesome. And that really is the key, because as long as you've got something to follow, then, you just say, okay, what's the next step? And then you can accomplish that. If you're trying to get it all done at once, then it can certainly become overwhelming. So, guys, thank you so much. Great conversation, a great topic this month. I can't wait to get back with you next week as we dive into the last quarter of the year right here on the North Texas PodConnect. Thank you to our guests, to our sponsors. We will be right back here at 11:30 next Wednesday. Try to bring you stuff that is going to be of great value to help you level up your business, to teach you how to network, give you the opportunity to meet great people. If you're not a part of the North Texas PodConnect Facebook group, join in. We'll let in. There's no charge, right? You get to meet great people, start connecting and networking in that way. But it's been a great time, great September. Can't wait for October. We'll see you guys back here next week at 11:30. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in and watching our show. If you would like to see our next show, or more shows like this one, just click the QR code and go to show schedules, or just follow and subscribe to our channels to get updates and notifications of this show, and many others like it.